All right.
I like really angry. I do.
Welcome to Ball and Chain Podcast. This is episode 203. Today's what? I don't have my watch on. Today's January 18th, 2017. This is our second episode, 2017. We missed last week, but that's okay. So,
Yeah.
We're back. We're here. Are you
Okay.
here? Are you here?
I think so.
You're kind of here?
At least until Sawyer wakes up.
Right. Yeah, so we got the baby monitor. So the past couple of nights, we've been pretty successful. Last night was a fluke, but the last couple of nights, we've gotten pretty good at getting him on a routine. And hopefully, knock on wood. Oh, Jesus, you're going to wake the dogs up and they're going to go nuts. Anyway, hopefully, and I know the Facebook group loves to see Sawyer, but he does need a bedtime and we need to get down to a routine with him. And I think we've got it.
I think so.
I think we've got a pretty good...
I think it's even manageable for you when I'm having to work.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for that.
Well, no, I'm just saying, I think it's something that is able to be managed one-handed. It's always better with two, but I think one person can manage. I think.
Would you like a shovel? You just keep digging yourself deeper and deeper.
Oh, my goodness. All right, whatever.
Deeper and deeper. Anyway, we've got a pretty good show to talk, a bunch of stuff to talk about today. Obviously, Nintendo had their big reveal for the Nintendo Switch, so that's something we're going to be talking about. That's actually going to be a big portion of the show because we got a lot of really good information about it. And I, for one, am excited. Spoiler alert, I'm excited about a Nintendo product. This hasn't happened since probably the 64. Well, I was pretty excited.
Except the Wii, the original Wii, when it first came out. We both got it. We actually wrapped it twice because we got it as like a joint birthday present for the two of us.
That's right.
We rewrapped it and opened it twice.
Yeah. Okay. So in recent history,
which that was back when we lived in the condo.
Right.
So
in recent history,
2007, 2006.
Right. In recent history, I would say the Wii, but that was like a huge letdown. But like the GameCube, legitimately, I don't know how much time I spent on the GameCube, both when I was at home and then in college. It was pretty much my primary gaming system until I purchased an Xbox. So yeah. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about, I took Eli to his first Magic tournament pre-release. Will you? If you'll consider that a tournament. I mean, we played 2 rounds, but it was still fun. And then you're going to talk about your Harry Potter game.
Yes.
Kind of open it up and do like an unboxing, kind of. Not really an unboxing because we've already opened it and played it, but it's going to give you a good... a
little unboxing for y'all.
Yeah, little reveal. So yeah. Whole bunch of good stuff. So before we jump in, there was something before we jump into those 3 main topics, our top 3. We want to talk about a little bit of Walking Dead news that kind of spoiled out to not really spoiled, but there was what the hell was that?
I don't know. I think I accidentally clicked something.
Oh. So there was an article that was written on MSN Entertainment. And I guess you want to kind of jump in?
Well, it's pretty legit. I mean, it's a legit credible news source. And we kind of touched on this before.
I think it was after the premiere. We talked. I know. Because when we were talking about it before in the pre-show, I was like, you know what? This scene. I feel like we've had this conversation
and again,
before.
This is again on Walking Dead, but I know we've before discussed on here, and I'm sorry I can't quote which episode that was, but
I could probably find out for you while you're talking.
Okay. The season premiere of Walking Dead for this season was very, very gory. It introduced, didn't really introduce, but we got our first really good long look with the character Negan and kind of what he's about, and we got the resolution to who he decided to beat down with Lucille.
Right.
You thought it was a great episode. I think it was a good episode. It was very good acting wise. It was hard to watch.
Right.
again, it's Walking Dead. It's been gory. Something that, Greg Nicotero and the effects team, they're always trying to come up with new methods and new not, I don't want to say thrills, but new gore techniques, I guess.
Yeah, just new cinematography ways to.
Right. I mean, they take your general walker. They've tried what happens to flesh if these walkers have been in water. What happens if they've been burned? What happens if they really have tried to kind of stretch their ideas of gore and come up with different ways and different methods of people dying, I think.
Right.
And this particular one was hard for a lot of people to watch, and I don't know if it was because of the way it was done or if it happened to be more because people were really connected to these characters.
Right. We talked about the season premiere in episode 196.
Okay.
That was on October 27th, 2016.
So if you want to, if you decide you want to go back and listen to it, you can listen to it on that episode. These are archived on YouTube, I believe.
Yep. YouTube.com/BC, YouTube.com/72DPI online.
Okay. But yeah, a lot of people, and I think it may have even been a couple episodes after that, we were talking about how The Walking Dead had noticed a huge slump in ratings.
Right.
It had gone back down to even lower than it had been, I think, in the last 3 seasons. And a lot of that was due to people deciding not to watch the show after the gore of the premiere. And so this article had just come out. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing it. Looks like about 8 hours ago, stating that executive producer Gail Ann Hurd, you may have seen her before on Talking Dead. She shows up there quite a bit. They did acknowledge Wednesday that they heard everyone's responses, and the remaining episodes that they had yet to film by the time this had come out, they did tone down the gore factor a little bit.
Right.
Now, I like that I do like that they're listening to the audience and what the audience wants, and they're taking into consideration their fan base. That being said, I only think this can have negative impact on The Walking Dead. In my opinion, the showrunners, the producers, the visual effects team have done an amazing job with this show. It has been it has had the highest ratings and been the top rated scripted series in all of primetime broadcast or cable.
Right.
And they did that without us second guessing them and what they're doing. And so you've got this demographic of people who have decided to stop watching. And now I think this decision is going to make the hardcore fans kind of kick back and stop watching as well. So I think it's only going to plummet. My estimate is this will be the downfall of the show. And
you're absolutely right.
I'm thinking it'll last 1 to 2 more seasons after this.
Yeah, they'll probably fill out their contract, and then it'll be, they've already pissed off so many people with how gory it was. And to be honest with you, it really wasn't that bad. I think if you were to go back and watch it, the worst part is when just after they showed Negan swinging at Glenn the first time, turning around and showing Glenn's face. I think that was
Glenn talking. That was pretty harsh.
Right. That was, and I don't even think that was I don't even think it was gory as much as it was like a very story-driven element that he's not like begging for his life. He's more, he just took a bat to the face and he's turning to Maggie saying, "I will find you," or "I'll not come for you." I think it's "I'll find you" or something like that. And to me, that's a powerful scene right there. Not the fact, these people are just taking it face value, and it's sad that they're shaping the way one of our favorite TV shows is going to be filmed. I'm sorry, but this is the zombie apocalypse. Negan's character, this is exactly what Negan's character would have done. Yeah. Is he's setting a message. He's, setting the tone for his character. He was going, he's not going to be as boring as an intro as the governor was, or for God forbid, Joe and a biker gang. That was fucking terrible. That's what we're going to get from now on. Joe and the biker gang. No one cried out when they tried to have sex with Carl. Like, there was no outcry when we tried to molest a child on film. But, Jesus, we take a bat to the back of Glenn's head and, oh my God, no! Too much gore! Well, turn it off.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, grow up.
No, I mean, and the thing is this is how the character is in the comics. People said...
It's even worse in the comics.
Right. They said, how are they going to make this guy come to life? And, so many people, when the show was in its first few seasons, said... How are they going to bring this guy to the screen? Because he is such a horrible, horrible, horrible person.
Well, and he was always the one that got compared to the ones prior to him. Like when the governor, when conversations would start, like around the water cooler at work and about the governor, like, oh well, just wait till they introduce Negan. He's 10 times worse. I don't even think they'll be able to put him on national television. Like.
Right. And then they do, and people get mad. So it's
right.
Like, you knew this was coming. Like,
right.
This is part of the story. This is already part of.
So
this world.
I think you're absolutely right. This is going to this isn't going to bring back the people that have left because of the quote unquote gore and how violent it is. It's not going to bring those people back. If they're gone, they're gone. They're moved on to something else. They're watching, Army Wives or something like that. And now we've got the hardcore people that want this type of violence and they want this type of.
Well, I don't necessarily want the type of violence. I
but they
don't
want
care
the
to watch the
storytelling.
gore, but I need. You have to trust in, if it's a show that you truly love, you have to trust in the storytelling right. and the team that's working on the show,
right,
to do their job. That's.
Oh, I want to hear an interview or some type of response about what they took out and what they toned back, or maybe they didn't do anything. Maybe they're just like, yeah, we're just just gonna keep on keeping on. I think that I don't know. Like, I think you're right. If the violence gets toned back, you see a huge shift in Negan's character. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, and hopefully it won't be so noticeable of a change. I'm hoping they didn't knee jerk it too much.
Right. Or nobody complains about the language he uses. Like, I just offered you all the pussy in the world and you said no, or whatever he said to Dwight. So I don't know. All I know is it's frustrating that someone can have a knee-jerk reaction like this, and then the powers that be are like, well, I guess we're going to go ahead and tone it down a little bit. Never mind our hardcore fans who stuck with us through this horrible, horrible event.
Right. I mean, they're trying to make you feel all the feels.
All the feels.
And they do. And,
right.
and I think changing and editing how they're working is going to have an impact on that.
Okay. You want to... Let's go ahead and... You want to talk about Hogwarts Battle?
Sure. Do you want me to get it down?
Sure.
Alrighty.
So we kind of talked about, I think in the last show, we talked about Dead of Winter, The Long Night. That's the game that you got me for Christmas. This is the board game that I got you for Christmas.
Because we're all into that kind of business.
We're into board games now. What can I say?
Anyhow, this is... Let's try to find my cameras here. Hogwarts Battle, Harry Potter. It's a deck building game, which I've actually never played a deck building game. And it's cooperative. So it's pretty nifty in how it's packaged, just for those who want to see. You've got your game board here. And it's actually very, very easy to pick up. Excuse me, I'm sorry. But nifty, very nice, sturdy construction here. Pretty easy to pick up and play. Marauders map on the front, which I love.
What's Marauders map? What is that?
What's the Marauders map?
I don't know.
Okay, so the Marauders map was where they could see where people were in the castle.
Oh, the footprints.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
All right, and they close it and they say mischief managed. And you've got your instructions here. Nice, again, nice booklet. Very easy to follow, very easy to pick up. I felt the game was pretty
So talk about the
Simple.
tutorial a little bit, because it's kind of
Um,
interesting how they've built this game.
So your
So-
game is built to follow the 7 years,
Gotcha.
the 7 books of Harry Potter. So you play as one of 4 characters:
Harry Potter.
Harry, Ron, Hermione, or Neville. I know you asked why Neville. He played a very significant role in the final battle at Hogwarts. He's kind of a bigger character than I guess you realize as it's going through. But anyhow, so you can see here you've got games 1 through 7. And so if you're brand new to deck building games, you're going to start with game 1. I am new to deck building games, but I still felt game 1 was pretty simple, maybe a little too simplistic.
Yeah.
I don't know if you kind of felt that way as well.
I mean, I've never done a deck building game. I'm aware of what they are and how they work. If you've never played a game like this, I'm pretty sure you could probably pick up the first one and learn. The instructions are pretty straightforward. I don't think there's really a need for game 2 or game 3 by themselves.
Right.
Because it just has you skip from game if you get the concept and
right. If you
have common sense.
right, and you're an advanced wizard, you skip to game 3, which has you combine the first 3 decks together.
Right. So yeah. So effectively, year 1, year 2, and year 3, which the decks include. I'll go ahead. Sorry.
No, what were you gonna say?
So all the decks include the 4 characters, and then they have the
Each
dark
character,
arts.
I think, has like 10 cards
but
of their own.
Yeah, they have a pre-constructed 10-card deck that you start with. There are dark arts cards, right? And those
Dark
are kind of
arts
like
cards.
this is what happens on your turn. This is kind of like the twist that happens. Like either you can't draw extra cards, or you get a what's the Death Eater? Is it Death Eater? Death Eater token, or something horrible happens or whatever.
Right. Object of the game is to stop the villains, which are your Death Eaters, from overtaking the locations.
Right. So each game or each chapter has a set of locations.
Right. So I think game 3 had, I want to say 3 or 4 locations. I think one was Hogwarts Express, but different locations throughout that
iconic.
particular book. You have so many villains.
But you add the villain. Yeah, you don't add the locations from games 1 and 2 to game 3, but you do add all the villains from 1 to 3. So the villains at game 7, you'll have all the villain cards.
Well, and in game 1, you try to defeat 1 villain at a time. By game 3, you're attempting to defeat 2 villains at a time.
Right.
I think it does eventually get to 3 because there are 3 villain spaces on the board.
Correct.
Each villain has its own special ability that during its phase takes effect on you.
Right.
So again, once you get to game 7 and you're fighting 3 villains at once, that's going to be pretty tricky.
Right. So the deck building portion of this game is really fun though. Like basically you reveal 6 cards off the top of the game deck, and you, by doing actions and casting spells and doing things, you acquire influence tokens. You spend these influence tokens to purchase one of the
Or
6,
multiple.
Yeah, one of the 6 or multiple cards, and that
However
card
many
goes to your
influence you have.
discard pile. And then when you empty out your total deck, you shuffle everything back together.
Right. So you're each turn building your card. So or your deck. So everybody has their own player card here with your life count, your attack. So these are your attacks. Basically, you spend your spells to gain attacks, which then you assign to which the villain you want to attack.
Right. They each have their own hit points.
And again, your influence tokens.
Yep.
The other kind of neat thing is game 1 and 2. When you are playing, your character has no special abilities. You're young. You're a new wizard. By game 3, there was a new character card for each of your characters. I don't know going on if they again kind of evolve. I think they do, but your character gains abilities, I guess, based because they've been in school for a while and now they know how to do different things. So it's kind of nice. The game box also comes with dividers. So instead of putting cards back in these little game boxes and having to separate them out, you can separate them by game type. I don't know if you can see this in there, but there they all are.
Yeah.
And again, your game tokens and the Death Eater tokens, which are these really pretty little metal silver skull looking things. So, anyhow,
It's a fun game.
game.
I was kind of concerned because I think we talked about this last episode, how some of these franchised licensed games can be kind of, not well thought out. But I think this game is pretty, it's pretty solid. It's fun for multiple ages. So as long as I don't think Eli would be able to comprehend this because he can't quite read. So it would take a little bit of getting used to. But, I mean, if you've got someone that's, what would you say, 8, 9...
It says ages 11 plus, but yeah, I think you could get by with somebody who's...
So it's a lot of fun. I haven't read all the books. Actually, I haven't read any of the books. Just seen a handful of the movies. But it's a fun game. Cooperative games are always fun. So
yep,
cool. All right, let's talk about speaking of playing games with kids. Segue. So it took Eli this past weekend to the pre-release for Aether Revolts, the newest Magic the Gathering set release. The set actually comes out this coming Friday, but Wizards, the company that creates it, basically puts the set together and ships it out to stores a week early so that they can run pre-release events, and it's a lot of fun. So we played in a game of a format called Two-Headed Giant, which is two players versus 2 players. Essentially what happens is each individual player gets a deck, pack of 6 packs of cards plus 1 random foil card, that they can all put their cards together, create 2 separate 40 card decks, and then they battle throughout the night. So we played 2 games. Eli's pretty knowledgeable at how the game is played, even though he can't read. He can read one or 2 words on the card at a time, just enough to kind of give him the idea of what the card is or does. The one thing I did, and I think we're going to do it again next with the next one, is the cards I was able to find. The spoiled cards online, I printed them out so he could see them beforehand, so he can get a little more familiarized with them. So, and it was interesting. It really did help too, because we were opening up cards, and he was like, "Hey, look, it's that card I played with before," and like he's
got a memory for that kind of stuff too.
Right. So like what I did was I printed out. Basically, I pulled because it's in packs of 15 with 1 land, so 14 cards. And I printed out 14 random cards and sealed them up like they were in packs, and I had him pick his 6, and then we built a deck for him there. But it really helped out. I mean, it's a great way to kind of get kids that can't quite read yet. He's 6 years old, in on a game that it's not meant for kids his age. Like, it's super, there's, top level as far as like strategy goes, but he can find a lot of fun in it. He loves the illustrations. Like he called it his Krabby. He had a giant crab that was a 4/4 defender. Really terrible card, but we played with it because he liked it.
And he thinks anything that has a big number is a good card.
It's a good card. So I mean, it's interesting because I started out the night like saying, okay, well, you should play with this card and this card and this card, and I was like, you know what? No. I want you to look through these cards and find out which ones you like the most. And of course, he went to the ones that we played with before: the crab, the giant whale thing. I don't think he played with. He had blue-black when we were playing with the fake cards, but he went blue-green because of the panther. He liked the panther card, or not the leopard cards. So essentially, he played all the creatures and stuff like that. I had a few creatures. I've taught him that flying.
So he likes them because they're pretty, like me.
Yeah, exactly. That's fine.
I like the ones that are pretty too.
But he also knows about the attack and defense, so he's like, this has got big numbers. It's a good creature.
Right.
And then I taught him 3 abilities. 3 abilities this time around. I taught him flying because in sealed and draft it's the most important ability because it's evasion, pretty much unblockable.
Right.
And then we taught him lifelink, which gains life when it deals damage, so he knows that. And then we taught him defender, which is basically the creature can't attack. Now the crab you can make it so it can attack it. It's got a special ability that you can do that, but we didn't go that far with it. So I'm shocked that he remembered all those 3 abilities. I think that's what we're going to do. Each pre-release, we're going to pick 2 new abilities or 3 new abilities and add it to the mix. So I think Death Touch is going to be another one that we'll go into next time around. But I'm really excited. I had a lot of fun. I know he had a lot of fun. He actually opened a masterpiece, which is like an ultra rare card. So from here on out, Wizards is going to include these like special foil cards, and I don't have it here. It's a special foil card with a special background, and the rarity is higher than Mythic, which Mythic I believe you get 3 in a box of 36 packs. But these masterpieces come in 1 per case, and that's 4 boxes. So what's 36 times 4? It's like 120, 100 and I don't know. I can't do maths.
My brain's tired.
I can't do maths. 36 times 4, 144. Holy smokes! Can't do math. Math is hard. So your odds of getting one is one in every 144 packs of cards, and he opened it in 6. So I got this really cute picture of him holding it up, and he was all excited and everything like that. So he had a lot of fun. The first guys we played against were really cool. They understood that he was a newer player, so they did a lot of explaining things, where most of the time what happens is someone will play a card, unless your opponent looks at it, nothing happens. They're just like, no one will explain you the card. That's not the player's job. That's the opponent's job, is to learn what the card does.
Right.
But these guys are like, I'm going to play this one with flying, or this one with haste. And like, they don't have to say that stuff, but they knew since he's was
6. So,
right.
Right.
But he had all the turn phases down and everything like that. It was really awesome. I was really excited. The second game we played against, it seemed like a wife and husband. Eli was excited because the wife was playing Pokemon Go with this, so he was all about, what team are you on, and who did you catch today, and this is who I caught, and he was kind of nerding out, with
So
this
funny.
stranger, complete stranger,
An adult.
yeah. So.
Yeah.
So we
let's
know
get that.
we need to be careful of stranger danger with Pokemon Go, because he'll just open up to that person. So.
And you just told the whole internet.
Oh God! Don't take our child.
Say, you just told them how to take our child.
Don't take our child.
That's wonderful.
Don't take him. He's too adorable. I'm not doing very good at keeping these times. So we didn't win any games. And Eli said the most hilarious thing at the end of the night, after because we only played 2 games, usually play 4, but we had dropped from the tournament, and the girl that we were playing against, she's like, well, did you have fun? And he's like, yeah, I had fun, but we didn't do very good. It's like, but that's it's funny.
Okay that he was
He's concerned about winning, and that's a good thing. That's something we should.
But he still had fun regardless.
Right.
So that's good too.
We should encourage that behavior. You should want to win. That's how it should go. So, I asked if he wanted to do it again. He said yes. Although when we had him on Mana Drained, which is an episode that will not air because of some unforeseen issues at the end of the episode, I asked him what his favorite part of the night was, and he said getting a pack of Pokemon cards. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So then I in turn asked him, what was your favorite part about the Magic tournament? I believe he said, I think he was saying it was playing against other people. Yeah, playing against other people. So that, between wanting to win, playing against other people, being excited about the artwork and understanding cards, I think this was a huge win.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I'm actually more excited for the next set, and contemplated skipping this pre-release just because it included 2 packs from the old set plus 4 from the new one. This next tournament, since it's going to be a brand new block of Amonkhet, is going to be 6 packs from one set. So you're going to have it's going to be more familiar cards, which is nice. So plus I've kind of brainwashed him into going to the library tomorrow to get a book about Egypt, so he can kind of get some build some knowledge about Egypt before the game actually comes out. So
yes.
that's exciting. All
If
right.
he remembers tomorrow, we'll see.
I hope so. I might stop in and say something. Should I or should I not?
No.
No, we'll just let him learn.
It's his library day. Let him.
Okay. I won't push him too hard. All right. So, last up on the docket today, or tonight, this evening, it's a big one. The Nintendo Switch.
What was that snapping for?
Didn't you watch the thing? Well, you just watched the end part with me, right? The last like half hour. So like during this whole thing, every time they would say the word Switch, they would click.
That's dumb.
Every time.
That's dumb.
Through the whole thing.
That's
and they
dumb.
would make in their
Well, I did notice though every time that they like said there, and we're going to switch
Right.
so and so. It's like
yeah, there's
really?
yeah, they're
like,
they're
enough cheese.
they're what you call it, segues were always, and we're gonna switch to that guy.
Constipated. There's so much cheese.
Right. Well, and what was really sad is like when they would literally say, and we're gonna switch to that guy, and it was like a pre-recorded message of oh god, I can't remember the guy's name now. From the Bethesda's lead designer. I had it on the tip of my tongue. Can you see it? Todd Howard. Boom. There you go. They didn't say his name. They just said, and now we're going to switch to that guy. And Todd's like, Todd Howard here from Bethesda Studios, and I'm going to talk about Skyrim. Like, it was really awkward. I don't know. Anyway.
I'm not all in with you guys.
Right.
You're all a little nutso.
Right. I'm so excited to be with Nintendo now.
Yay.
Like, this was a great first impression.
Yeah.
Like, anyway,
you are excited.
I am excited, and I don't know why. I think it's because of the promise, which is what got us in trouble with the Wii, because the promise with the Wii was, oh, this is great, new controller.
We did have fun with the Wii at first. We did. Even we had people over. I've got pictures of us Wii bowling with my dad on. I mean, we had fun with it at first. It wasn't like a long-lasting thing, but we did have fun with it.
Right. So I guess we can we'll start off with the actual preview or whatever you want to call it, the announcement show, I guess. So they announced that it's going to be coming out March 3rd, which is right around the corner. The price here in America is going to be $299.99. Inside that, you're going to get the Wii console, which what they're calling the console is actually the tablet. Okay, so they've got a tablet, which is called the Wii console, the Switch console, and then the Switch dock, which is what sits in front of your TV that you can just slide it in and it transfers the screen from the actual system up to your TV. Then they have the two controllers, which I find interesting that they're calling two controllers, right?
Right.
They call these Joy-Cons. And those things can attach to the side of the system. They can be unattached and attached to... Did I write it down? Oh, crap, I didn't. God, what is that thing called?
The little monitor thingamajig.
No, that's the system. There's like a holster thing that's got handles. It makes it look like a controller. I can't remember what it's called now.
Okay.
I don't know. Or you can play with it separately where you can give your buddy one of the Joy-Cons, and they call this sharing the joy.
Oh, my God. See, it's all cheesy.
I know.
It's all cheesy and retarded.
Yes, I know.
And you're still excited about it?
I'm not excited about the marketing. I'm excited to play the Zelda game. To be honest with you, paying $300 to play a Zelda game is way, way out of control.
I was excited for the PS4 for Drake, and I still don't have the PS4 and Drake.
I understand that. In fact, we can actually get PS4 Drake and Uncharted for $250, whereas this would cost us $300 plus $60 for the game. So, when all is said and done, probably close to $400.
So yeah, it's going to be a bit probably before this actually happens for us.
Right, but so one of the things that I find interesting about the system is how many different ways you can play it. Right, so. Taking the system off the dock, it's got a little kickstand on the back of it, so you can set it up right, and you can use the Joy-Con controllers. You can use the Pro controller, and it
can look like a little Game Boy kind of deal.
Right. It's the screen itself is 6.1 inches, which is a little bit bigger than the Wii U's tablet. The screen resolution on the tablet is 720p, so it's a decent sized screen with a nice resolution. From the show floor and all the podcasts that I was listening to, they said that the actual games and gameplay looks much better on the small screen. Like everything looks more crisp and everything, which would make sense. It's a smaller screen at a higher resolution versus 1080p on your 40-inch TV.
Right.
But I think it's probably got a pretty fast refresh rate too. It's got multi-touch, so unlike the Wii U was only single touch, you can actually do multi-touch with it, which is nice. The battery life is 2.5 to 6.5 hours, depending on what game. So 2.5 for probably most of that. For most of those games, which is
kind of crappy.
It's very crappy. But if you think about how often do you play games for more than 2.5 hours at a time?
Car trips. If you're a kid sitting in the backseat of the car.
Yep. Now it does say that the charging. They didn't go with the proprietary charging cable like all the other manufacturers and all the other systems that they've ever brought out. It's a USB cable. So you should theoretically be able to charge this thing off of your car outlets. So theoretically. What else? The other thing I didn't realize until just now, or until the actual release or the announcement, was on the Joy-Con controllers when you're sharing the Joy. Because you turn them sideways, right? So you got like a thumb pad and then like the 4 buttons. There's actually L and R buttons at the top of these things. And the conversation that they were having when they were announcing this was, and it fits in your hand just perfect, and everything fits. Like this guy's like holding it like this, and you could tell I'm like, that there is no way that's gonna you can't push those buttons. And they're like, it's a fully functional controller. I'm like, oh boy. But it does come with...
And you're still excited for this thing.
I am.
Like, you keep saying all this stuff. That
I am, because they have answers to all this stuff, right? So included in the box are the wrist straps, right? But they have basically these slide-on rail things that extend the buttons out about another half inch to 3/4 of an inch, effectively making them a little bit bigger for people that have bigger hands.
Okay.
Needless, I digress. This way of playing I will never do. In fact, I probably will never detach. If we were to get it, I probably will never take off the Joy-Cons from the side of the controller. If I'm going to play with,
so you'd always play it like a Game Boy?
Or if it's docked, I would have a Pro controller that's the regular. It looks like the Xbox controller.
Which you have to buy separately. Okay.
Yeah. So we're talking like probably close to $500.
Right.
On a single game.
No.
Come on.
Yeah, no.
Come on, bro. Anyway, what else? They have this new technology that they're touting called HD Rumble. So
high definition rumble.
High definition rumble. So apparently, according to the video, it can tell you that it can give you the sensation of different feelings, right? So like they were
a small vibrate versus a big vibrate.
Not quite. Well, yeah, essentially. But what they were talking about is if you hold the Joy-Con upright or whatever, it can give you a sensation of like a piece of ice falling into a glass. So you could feel it like go, rumble all the way down, and it said it can basically simulate 3 pieces of ice falling into a glass, and then you could shake it and feel those pieces of ice shaking in the glass.
I'll have to try right? to understand that, yeah.
So, and then the other thing they talked about is filling the glass up with water. They can give you that sensation as well. Which is, it's interesting. It's just like, it's just like them announcing.
And I wonder how that would be used.
Exactly. That's the exact same. The same thing that happened with the Wii. Like we've got the, Wii Sports, which was like a demo for all these awesome ways to interact with this, motion controllers, and no game really effectively used it at all.
Except for all the arcade games.
Maybe. But it's just,
And WarioWare. That was a fun game.
Right. So let's talk about WarioWare.
Talk about WarioWare.
Yeah, let's talk about WarioWare and why WarioWare isn't involved in this launch lineup. There's only 4 games that are available at launch. One of them is this game called 1-2 Switch, right? And everyone's like, "Oh, this is like the Wii Sports of the Nintendo Switch," and they're kind of right in the sense that it's like a selection of mini games that demos what this system can do. Like there's a lot of motion, there's a lot of different interacting. But the one thing that it does differently in the way they presented it, which when I first heard of it, I was like, oh, great, it's a bunch of mini games that aren't incredibly thought out, and they're very shallow and one-time experiences, and the only time you'll play it is when someone new comes over and you're like, hey, check out this Switch, it's pretty sweet, let's play this real quick. But this is something they've kind of turned it on their head a little bit and said, when you're playing a traditional video game, both players are sitting on a couch staring at a screen. Right? There's no interaction between the two. So what this game is going to do is it's going to have each player facing each other, not looking at the TV at all, and it'll tell you what to do or whatever through audio cues.
Bop it?
Kind of. Well, one of the things was each person has a controller, right? And they demonstrated like this sword play thing where one person holds their Wiimote, whatever, their Joy-Con above their head, and the other person holds the one in their hand like this. And basically, the first person has to swing their hand down like a sword, and the other person has to clap their hand.
I see controllers breaking.
I do too, but it's interesting because the concept is they don't want you looking at the screen; they want you looking at each other. So like all these different, there's like one like the quick draw thing or whatever. I don't know, very like
arcadey.
Yeah, very arcadey and very. I think Wii Sports in a way where you're going to find that one game if you enjoyed the tennis thing or if you enjoyed the bowling thing, you might come back to that one of 6 or one of 8 games or whatever it is time and time again. But I don't think it's going to be much more than that. This does not come packaged with the game. The system doesn't come with any games, so you'll be spending $60 on that.
Yeah.
The other games that are coming out at launch is Just Dance, and then a game that I've never heard of, but I'm actually pretty excited. Like after reading the description of it, like it's an original IP, so it's brand new. It's called the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. So
that sounds terrible.
It does sound.
That sounds like you're gonna play placenta. The Binding of Isaac. Is he wrapped up with placenta? I
don't know. Like the picture's got him crying or something with a kitty cat.
Yeah, he's wrapped up like in umbilical and placenta.
That's a kitty cat.
Yeah. Well, the binding of this person after birth plus. Yeah.
Okay, so the name is terrible, but it's got a few of my favorite words in it. It's a randomly generated action shooter with heavy RPG elements, right? Kind of roguelike elements. There's over 500 items and weapons, and I can't read while you're scrolling.
No, it looks like what was that Sock Boy game?
Oh, on PlayStation?
Yeah.
Little Big Planet.
Yeah. It looks like the Little Big Planet guy.
Okay, so the artwork is similar. He's got a big head, and he's in
Afterbirth Plus,
and he doesn't have pupils. I'm just saying, like
Sorry.
I
can't deal.
I can't deal. I'm excited because it's a brand new IP. They didn't just slap Mario in there and was like, hey, look, here it is.
True.
So yes, the name is pretty terrible. But if you don't look at the name and look at what the game is, 14 playable characters, over 50 unique bosses, like, I'm pretty excited. It seems like it's going to be a fun game. But the real game to be excited about is the Zelda game. Like, open world, beautifully rendered, it's kind of like a match between the CG of Wind Waker and the art from Ocarina of Time. There we go. Can't speak. But yeah, that game is going to be what sells the system by far. New Zelda game. Don't buy it on the Wii U. Don't do it. Just don't do it.
No, spend $500 on this system instead.
Right, the game was developed for this system, so why not?
Okay.
Quiet you. The other game that we were watching at the very end was Xenoblade 2, which I've never played Xenoblade at all, but it looked like a pretty game.
That was more like a teaser trailer, correct?
Yeah, it was they didn't play it. They had some gameplay aspects to it, but it sky pirates and giant creature thing.
It
RPG.
looked similar to like a Final Fantasy kind of style.
Yep. So.
And then there is a Mario.
There is a Mario. It's kind of scary looking.
Well, didn't they put it akin to like Mario 64 with having that like sandbox world? Yeah,
they said that it's going to have the Mario 64 or Mario Sunshine, whichever one you're closer to. Probably the 64 version. But they're doing this weird thing. They played a bunch of different worlds, but one of the worlds was like the actual reality world, like where there were cars and humans walking around that didn't look like Mario, weren't the cartoon characters. So a lot like if you remember Sonic Adventure from the Dreamcast. Yeah, it was terrible. God awful. So I'm hoping that this is just like maybe the one world that you start in and it gets better. Like, I don't know. But there were other aspects and other different worlds that they visited in this trailer. And it's not coming out till holiday 2017. So you'll have to wait on Mario. But you got Zelda, which is great.
Heck, that's not that long. I didn't even know this was coming out until, yesterday. And it's halfway through the month of January already.
They literally just announced on the 12th. It was on
that they're coming out with a brand new system in like a month.
Well, no, they announced the price and the release date. We didn't know what the release date was.
I didn't even know there was a new system.
You did too.
Nope.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. I don't want to hear it.
If I did, it went in one ear and out the other.
It sure did. So I don't know. Nintendo, just like with the Wii, Nintendo is standing by their word, saying there are multiple third-party game creators that are making games. They quoted 80 games in development right now. And this, if you remember the Wii U, and even the Wii to some extent. I mean, maybe not as much as the Wii U, but the Wii U was definitely kind of stinker when it came to third-party development.
You know what I'd like to play again?
What?
Animal Crossing.
We've got the GameCube hooked up, and we've got Animal Crossing. But what I'm saying, that's a Nintendo game.
Yeah, it is.
So this is something where they've kind of had like lackluster experiences is
what
in the third party.
Harvest Moon? Was that a Nintendo game?
That's a good question.
Some old titles that would be fun for a new system.
I don't know.
Anyway.
So, so Harvest, are you looking it up right now? Yeah, you are. Okay. So, I think Zelda will be the one to sell it. I would be interested to find out why they didn't have Mario ready for this release. Part of me thinks that they're trying to kind of double dip with their gamers. They're going to get the system plus one game, maybe two. Like everyone that's buying a Switch is definitely buying Zelda. Like no questions asked. Maybe they'll buy a second game, with it, and they didn't want that second game to be Mario. They wanted it to be something else, and then they're like, okay, well, we need something to sell at Christmas. So here's, Mario. And we'll, drop a deal on Zelda or something. So who owns the rights to Harvest Moon?
I don't know.
Directors, publishers, Nintendo. Oh crap! I keep forgetting that your screen is a touch screen.
Yeah, I know.
I wonder if there's a way to turn that off.
I don't have an issue with it unless he comes up and or do like you do. You go, oh, what is this?
Well, it's like, what's that right there? And you just click on stuff. Whoops.
Yeah.
All
right.
Anyway, all right, guys. Well, I think we're done. We got anything else you want to talk about? I think that's everything.
so.
All right, guys. Well, we really do appreciate you watching. If you guys were watching on Facebook Live, we really do appreciate that. If you could do me a huge favor, do us a huge favor, actually, head over to our YouTube page, youtube.com/72DPI online. Hit the subscribe button. All of our past shows are up there. We've got some new content coming up in the coming weeks. Actually, started a new show tomorrow. Actually, is it tomorrow? I think it's tomorrow. Called the Laundry Day Stream. It's where I do our laundry and stream online.
Oh, yeah, really. I'm sure lots of people would be viewing that.
All right.
It's exciting.
It just gives me a reason to play games again. I'm just kidding. Anyway, head over there, hit the subscribe button, leave us some comments and stuff like that. I'm kind of curious to find out what, we talked about The Walking Dead at the top of the show. I'm kind of curious to hear if the announcement of them toning back the violence, if you're one of the snowflakes that stopped watching the show, if you're going to come back to the show, or if you're one of the hardcore people that said, no, we want the blood and gore, blah, 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 if you're going to plan on leaving the show. So we'll see. Leave a comment below. You can also head over to our Patreon page if you feel like throwing $1 this way to help us keep the light on. The light. You can become a patron if you go to patreon.com/72DPI for as little as $1 a month. You can help us keep the light on, and we would appreciate it. And hey, you know what? If we get enough people to donate $1, maybe we'll be able to buy a second light. It's possible. Light. And then I won't have, like I said last week, I won't have this really terrible shadow on the left side of my face. It'll be well lit.
We could put a reflector up.
Okay, well, with that $1, instead of purchasing a light, we could purchase a reflector. Because you actually use your reflector. And that's pretty easy to get to. Have you ever tried to get behind this desk with the PC and all that? No. I've gone back there twice, and I hate it. Every time.
Okay.
So, anyway, guys, well, thanks for watching. Head over to our YouTube channel and check out some of the other shows. And we'll catch you guys next week, Wednesday at 8 p.m., unless Amanda has to work.
Or we're putting the baby to sleep.
Which, yeah, that's a good point. We might be switching the time to 9, just like from here on out. I don't know. We'll see. 8 p.m. tentatively. How about that?
All right.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
Bye.